Okay, Adulting with Donnie is back for yet another episode. I'm not really minding these Monday night episodes. They're actually not that bad. Although I do prefer to go, to do this on a different night. But, it hasn't been that bad doing it. Having the free time available to do them on a Monday night isn't actually that bad. And especially since my weekends seem more packed than ever lately. So, welcome to the show. Lots. I don't even know if there's lots to talk about. But, as usual, I will recap my weekend. I hope everyone had a good weekend. It's Monday, so I also hope you had a good Monday. Happy Monday. Let's see here. I don't really remember my Friday night. Not that it was a crazy Friday night. Yeah, I don't remember what we did. I'm certain we did something incredibly fun. I can tell you that I very vividly remember my Saturday night. Saturday night, I got home and Ro made chicken broccoli Alfredo for me, which is one of my favorite meals ever. And I think it's the first time she may have made it for me from home. So we had that, and then we were looking for something to watch. And Nate Bargatze, he was on Joe Rogan a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. He was on Joe Rogan, and I like Nate Bargatze a lot as a comedian. So he was on Joe Rogan a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, something like that. And so I listened to his episode on Joe Rogan, and then I got home and we're looking for something to watch on TV. And scrolling through Netflix, there it was, his comedy special. So, Ro was like, do you know who that is? And I said, yeah, I heard a couple of his specials before, and he's really good. So, that's cool. There's just banging around upstairs, I guess, whatever. Who knows what the fuck is going on up there. But yeah, so I said I listened to a couple of his specials, and yeah, he's really funny. So she said, all right, why don't we watch him while we eat? So we did, and it was fucking hysterical. He recorded it like last summer or maybe early last fall sometime. I think he recorded it in Texas. And in fact, he did. He definitely recorded it in Texas. And he did it outside because fucking COVID. There was helicopters flying overhead and stuff. And he addressed that on Joe Rogan, that there was actually like a police pursuit while he was taping his special. So there's these helicopters flying over once in a while he's doing his special, but it's fucking hysterical. There were a couple of times in there where I was like doubled over laughing so hard. And Ro pointed out near the end of it that he's very clean, which is something I didn't realize. He's a very clean comic. If there was any swearing, I don't remember it. I don't remember any F-bombs or anything like that in there. So very clean comic. So, but incredibly funny. So we watched that, and then she went and took a shower, and I did dishes because that's how we operate. And then let's see here. Then when she came back down, we wanted to watch another comedy special. So she said, "Let's put on Eddie Murphy Delirious," or not? Yeah, she did say Delirious first. She said Delirious first, which was recorded in 1983. And then I typed it into the search bar, and then she saw that Eddie Murphy Raw was also on there. So she said, what year was Raw recorded? And I looked, and it was 1987. She was like, I want to watch that one instead. I said, okay. I wasn't really into it. Admittedly, I was not really like... It's not that I don't like Eddie Murphy. I mean, obviously, he's amazing. I loved his movies. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is such a good movie. Yeah, I loved his movies. I just don't think I ever watched any of his stand-up. If I did, then it was a long fucking time ago. And I just going into it, I was like 1980s comedy. In fact, anything before the 2000s, in my opinion, because I'm fucking ridiculously retarded, neurodecelerated. Um, I just don't think it holds up, right? But we watched this 1987 Eddie Murphy Raw comedy special, which is like an hour and a half long, which is beyond the time frame for what all comedians say specials should be. They say that specials should be between 57 and 64 minutes. And granted, there's like a 10-minute little movie type scene in this comedy special. But still, it's well over the whole thing in total. His stand-up special itself is well over 64 minutes. So, so much of the material in there really holds up. Like, yeah, so I can't, not that you need me to suggest you go listen to fucking Eddie Murphy, but if you have Netflix, then maybe check that out. I got a stuffy nose for some reason. I don't like that. Little spring allergies here. It's springtime now. It's March 22nd, so daylight savings is kicked in, and yeah, I don't like that. I don't miss that stuff. What a shitty fucking winter it was. Sorry to move on so quickly from Eddie Murphy. Just to close that one out real quick. Supposedly he does have another special coming. I know that I've been hearing that a lot for like the last, it's one of those things. It's like when, and hopefully it will be better than this, but it's like when, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, for like 10 years, they said that the Guns N' Roses Chinese Democracy album was coming, and it took forever to finally be released, but then it was a total piece of shit. But I've heard Eddie Murphy might come back. Let's see here. Come back to. Let's see here. How about another comedy special? Try that. Eddie. Okay. Well, this is from 2019, and of course, COVID probably fucked him on this one. But there's an article here from September of 2019 where Eddie Murphy confirms that he will be doing a 2020 stand-up comedy special. But again, these reports are all from 2019. So there is something that says in October of 2020, so just a few months ago, where to watch Eddie Murphy one night only. So I don't know. Hopefully he does like a real stand-up special at some point. You know, Netflix would fucking buy that up for the price of a Six Underground probably. Let's see here. So and my Uncle Bobby just said George Carlin. George Carlin does hold up a lot of his stuff, especially I love his consolidating of the Ten Commandments. That's one of my favorites of his, and he's got a bunch of others that are really good. But I don't think that I've ever watched an entire and Annie disagrees that Chinese Democracy was a great album. Traditional Guns N' Roses is way better. So I don't know. The single off of Chinese Democracy I thought was good, but the rest of the album I didn't like at all. And I wasn't alone in that. I'm sorry, Annie. But Chinese Democracy was the single off the album I did like. In fact, I'm going to listen to it after I finish this episode of this show. Speaking of this episode of this show, if you didn't catch it, if you didn't hear, if you didn't get the word, for all the people that listen to this show, very big news. All the people that listen to this show and also listen to Gun Shop Guys. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, I talked about the kind of ending of Gun Shop Guys. But Stan and I from Gun Shop Guys have started a new show called We Deliver. And if you go to Facebook and search We Deliver Podcast, you'll find us there. It's the little profile picture on there it's a overstuffed mailbox, and the cover photo is the USPS hot rod, and I just a few minutes ago posted the link to episode 1 for that show. It should be in all of your iTunes, and I will make sure that it ends up in all of the podcast players. iHeartRadio usually takes about 3 months to finally get an episode, to finally get accepted into their bullshit. But the rest of them, I should have it into all of the podcast players pretty soon. But yeah, we started a podcast called We Deliver. So Stan and I, basically the Gun Shop Guys ends, and Stan and I talked on the phone. And Stan and I are really good friends, and we only met a year ago, but we became fast friends, and, you know, we're both Army guys, we both did combat deployments, we both work for the post office now. I got him into the post office, so we talked on the phone after Gun Shop Guys ends, and said, you know what, let's keep this thing going. Let's start a new podcast, just the two of us. We'll talk about being mailmen, and we'll talk about, you know, whatever the fuck, you know, what's going on with the post office. We'll talk about some of the stuff, like, what's the weirdest stuff that we've delivered, some of the stuff that we encounter as mail carriers. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. So, and while I was on the phone with him talking about doing this, Ro happened to be standing right there, and she was really pushing us to do this too. I thought it was a great idea, and has come up with some great ideas, and she was the one that suggested the name We Deliver, which I thought, oh, that's perfect. That's a perfect name for the show. So yeah, that show is up. You can find it on Facebook. The live show was last night. The link to listen to the audio version is on the Facebook page now. I'll work on getting a trailer done and sending it out to some of my podcast friends to get that show a little more notoriety. But yeah, so me and Stan from Gun Shop Guys are continuing our adventure of doing the show, and we have no idea how often it's going to be. It's not going to be on a schedule for now, anyways. It's not going to be on like a we have to do this every Sunday or every Monday or every whatever day. For the most part, it's just going to be when we can do it, we're going to. When we can get together and do an episode, we're going to. And, you know, we're going to do a couple episodes from like, okay, cool. My sister just told me that she just used my Adam and Eve code. That's cool. So we have no idea what is going to come of that show, but it's very exciting for me. You know, I love Stan. He's awesome. He's great. He's a great guy. So very excited about that. So yesterday, so continuing on my weekend antics, yesterday, this is all out of order, obviously. Saturday night I started with comedy, and now I just told you that me and Stan started a new podcast last night, and now let's jump backwards in time to Sunday morning. Sunday morning, Ro and I got up, and we went. So we planned it early in advance, like earlier in the week. I had said, hey, on Sunday morning, I want to go to White Birch Armory in Dover and look for a couple gun parts. Do you want to go for a ride? And she was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. So we got up Sunday morning and we went to White Birch Armory. Neither of us had ever been there before, and it is beautiful. If you are in the southern New Hampshire seacoast area, within 45 minutes to an hour of Dover, New Hampshire, and you can find your way over to White Birch Armory, I highly recommend it. The store itself is beautiful. Lots of stock, although, obviously not a lot of ammo, like is the case with everyone. They did have some ammo. They had some 223. They had some 300 Blackout. Ro ended up buying some 9mm. I bought a PMag, 30-round magazine, and I also bought my first suppressor, which was a very good experience. I have been putting off buying a suppressor for years. My good friend Jesse, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I had about $1,000, $1,400 that I was like, I was like, hey, I kind of want to. I got this money. I kind of want to buy a new gun. What do you think I should get? And he was like, you need to get a suppressor. Like, you have the guns. You need to get in on the suppressor game. But every time that I ever considered getting a suppressor, it was just such a headache. Yeah, Alex just checked in. You're coming on my show. So excited. Yeah, Alex from the You Suck Network. I am going to be on his show, The Weekly Bazaar, this Friday afternoon. You can catch me there. I'm looking forward to that as well, Alex. I get the time off. I will be out, and I will be on the show, and I can't wait. So anyways, yeah, I've been putting off getting a suppressor just because it's such a hassle to get one, or at least I thought it would be. I really and if you do it any other way, it probably really is just such a hassle. But you have to you buy the suppressor at the store, and you pay for it right there. You give them your money, but then you can't take the item with you, which is one of the biggest pains in the ass. I hate the idea. I always hated the idea of paying for a thing that I then can't take with me. It has to stay at the store. I can't do anything with it other than go to the store, and maybe occasionally I can look at it. Then you have to do your fingerprints. So you have to go to a police station to have your fingerprints done. And you have to go to like a Rite Aid or a Walgreens or a CVS or something to have your passport picture done and send all this stuff into the ATF. Then you have to mail all this stuff into the ATF. And there's documents you have to sign and all sorts of other bullshit, right? So it was really one of the biggest reasons that I just put it off. It's just like, it's so much hassle, right? Not at White Birch Armory and a ton of other places in the country. Because a lot of places in the country have gotten what's called a silencer shop kiosk. And this thing is fucking awesome. I went to White Birch Armory. I tell them the suppressor that I want. They had me, I buy it. I give them my email address and my phone number and my name, obviously. I buy it. They take all of my information. And then they, I pay the full price for the suppressor, and then they direct me over to the kiosk. I got to download an app, the Silencer Shop app. I download the app, and I get a QR code on my phone that I just scan at the kiosk. And as soon as I scanned it, the fucking it populates with the suppressor that I just bought. Everything is right there, all of my information. I pulled my driver's license out, and it scanned the back of my driver's license. All of my driver's license information populates on there. I did my fingerprints right there, and I do all of the other bullshit on there right away, right? And then I take my phone, and I take a picture of myself on my phone, so now my passport photo is done. So I get the fingerprints done. I get the passport photo done. All of this was done within in probably under 30 minutes. I had all of this stuff done. And then the only thing that I had to do yesterday was I went to silencershop.com, and they have a $200 NFA tax stamp that you can buy. And you pay silencershop.com $200, and then they write a check to the ATF for your $200 tax stamp. Because that was another thing that always made me stray away from getting an NFA item, a suppressor, was because I didn't want to deposit. I didn't want to have a check that I send in and I'm waiting for the ATF to deposit it, and it could be coming any day, and I have no idea when. I hate that. I don't like having a check just out there in the wind that I have no idea when it's gonna be deposited. So Silencer Shop, I just pay them the money. The money's gone. They will take they'll write the check for me. They'll let me know when it cashes, and I don't have to worry about any of that shit. Today they sent me a document to sign for the ATF, and that's the end of it. I signed that documentation, and that's the end of it. Now I just have to wait for the ATF to send me back to send all the paperwork to White Birch Armory and say, yep, he's good to go. He can take this home now. And those are running. It looks like it's running about 6 months to get that paperwork back. But here's the cool thing. White Birch Armory has their own shooting range. So, as long as, because it's going to be in the building, like the suppressor can't leave the building. So I can go to White Birch Armory with my gun that I'm going to put this on. I'm putting it on a 300 Blackout pistol that I'm building later this week, I think. Most likely. I'm building it later this week. I can go there after this gun is built. I can go to White Birch Armory anytime I want, and say, hey, I want to go out on the range with my suppressor, and they'll give me my suppressor, and I can walk right onto the range. I can shoot it all that I want, and then I just have to hand it back to them, and until the ATF comes through and says you're all set. So I ended up buying, for my first suppressor, I ended up buying a Yankee Hill Manufacturing Resonator K. It's a very, 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 very inexpensive suppressor. And by that, I mean it was about half the price of like a Q, like the Q that I really wanted. It was about half the price of that. The Q suppressor was very tempting. Technically, I had the money to spend on that. I just really couldn't justify the price. Maybe someday. And who knows? Because this process was so easy, I wouldn't be surprised if now I really fall in love with the suppressor game and I want to buy more suppressors now. I've got, this 300 Blackout pistol will be my, I don't know, 7th or 8th AR platform rifle. In addition to the other rifles that I have, other caliber rifles that I have. I'd like to up my handgun game. I'd like to have more handguns in my safe, but other than that, I wouldn't be opposed to next. I definitely want a 9mm suppressor to put on my HK, because I have an HK. So I have an HK with a threaded barrel. So I definitely want to get an HK barrel on there, or an HK suppressor on there. So yeah, it was an awesome time. Ro, of course, fucking everywhere that we go, she met someone. That's what we did on Friday night. We went to a bonfire. Duh. Jesus. Yeah, we went to an awesome bonfire on Friday night. We even woke up Friday morning. We looked at the temperature for the night, and it was 37 degrees, and both of us were like, oh, 37 degrees, it's going to be cold. And but we went anyways, and we said we'd stay for a couple hours, and we got there at 6:30, and as is always the case, I mean, just 4 hours just flew by. We went with Mike and Annie and Kimmy, which are our friends now. I texted Ro the next morning, and I was like, I had so much fun hanging out with your friends, and she said, no, they're our friends now, which is true. I met Annie and Mike and Kimmy very early on. They were the first. That was the first 3 people. Kimmy was the first one I met, but I met all of them the same night because I had surprised Ro at a softball game. She had texted me a few days earlier and was like, I have a softball game in Gonick on Friday night at 6 o'clock. If you're bored and you have nothing to do and you want to come and watch. And I played it off, and I was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I mean, I'm probably going to be working late. I doubt I'll be able to make it. And she was like, okay, no problem. Here's the address just in case. And it's a Friday night. I got out of work, and I went over to that field and pulled up. And she was, walking to the outfield when I pulled up. And I just saw her mouth drop first, and then just this enormous smile. And then she started walking out to the, she came over, gave me a kiss, and then she started walking to the field and just had this adorable smile on her face. It definitely hangs as one of the memorable moments of our relationship. And then Kimmy came up and introduced herself, and I said, I heard a lot about you, and she's like, I heard a lot about you too. So it was cool. It was a fun time. But yeah, so anyways, bonfire. Yeah, we hung out at this bonfire, and it was huge. I mean, when we got there, it was mostly Christmas trees and a bunch of logs, big logs. Probably stacked up about 10 or 12 feet. And we got there just as they lit it up, and it went up real fast. I'd say within an hour and a half, it was down, below our waist. But plenty fucking warm enough still. So we hung out until 10:30, and then we took off. And then Sunday morning we go to White Birch Armory. After White Birch Armory, we went to Bed Bath & Beyond because they had a store closing up the road. So we went there, it was 20% off the whole store. So we went there and shopped around. It was quicker than we would have liked because I had to go take a flight. So we spent a little bit of time there, and then we went back to her place. I dropped her off, and then I took off to go flying, and it was fucking awesome. I had a great flying lesson yesterday. It was just doing landing all day. It was an hour and a half. It was a little over an hour. It wasn't quite an hour and a half, but it was a little over an hour of time in the sky, and just fly up, go out, and come, go back to the other end of the runway and come in and land, and just did that. I think we landed like 10 times, and the first 4 or 5 of them I didn't do so good, and then I asked one fairly simple question, and my instructor was like, yes, that's exactly right. And I was like, okay, then let's try this again. And so on whatever it was, the 5th or 6th time that I tried, I nailed it. I did really good on that one. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. They increased their prices, so it was a little more expensive than it used to be, but that's okay. I mean, it's still so much fun for me to go up and fly, and like yesterday, we, in the, being able to fly, because you take off, and the Portsmouth, Pease Air Force Base, that runway is almost 2 miles long. In fact, I think it's over 2 miles. It's like 11,000 and change feet, so it's over 2 miles long. So by the time you get up in the air, you can't turn until you're at the end of the runway, and obviously you can't land until you're at the other end of the runway. So it takes about 7 or 8 minutes to get from one end of the runway to the other. From the time you take off to the time you come back and land, it takes about 7 or 8, maybe even 10 minutes. I don't know. I didn't have my GoPro going on it yesterday, but it takes a little bit of time to get from one end to the other. So once I got used to being up there, I started looking around and kind of like looking down at the ground and seeing some of the areas that I know, and like, oh yeah, I know that road, So seeing places that I deliver to, and picking them out from the sky, which was fun. But landing on my last landing, my instructor said, being able to fly solo, aka by myself, being able to fly solo is not the next thing on the horizon, but it's on the horizon. It's getting closer, so that's very good to know. I am progressing, and he said that he's very proud of. He said the word that he used. The words that he said was, I'm very proud of his own progress in training me so far. Like, he's very proud of where I'm at. So that made me feel really good. And then, like, when I did nail that landing, when I finally got it good, he was kind of just sitting there, not really saying anything. And I knew that I had nailed it. Like, I touched this fucking plane down so perfectly that the wheels started spinning. You could hear the rear wheels spinning before they actually hit the ground, just from the air going between between the tires and the ground. You could hear the wheels start spinning, and then it just kind of barely touched down smooth as glass, and then took out my flaps, punched it, gave it full power again, took off, and got up in the sky, and he looks over and he goes, how'd you think, or how'd you like that, or what'd you think about that, something like that. And I looked back at him and I laughed, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. And he was like, absolutely, do them like that every time. So we had a lot of fun. So yeah, and then I left there. I met up with Ro real quick for like 20 minutes just to tell her how the flight went. And then I came back here to do my show with Stan, and that was about it. That was the recap of my fucking weekend. You guys should start telling me how your weekends went. Give me a highlight of your weekend. Be a part of the show. Let's do some advertising. Adam and Eve, as my sister just mentioned, adamandeve.com. It's adameve.com. Adameve.com. 5 best masturbation toys for women. Rabbit vibrators, clit vibrators, thrusting vibrators, wand massagers, G-spot vibrators. The wand massagers, that's an interesting animal because Hitachi was the first one to make it, and they forgot to change the parent company. So the same company that makes like power drills and flashlights and stuff like that also makes the world's most popular dildo. Is that a dildo? I don't know. Do you call it a dildo or is it just a sex toy? Either way, their best seller on adameve.com is Adam and Eve Magic Massager Deluxe 8X. You can, let's see here. What just happened? Don't do that. There we go. That's better. No, I just want the item. Thank you. You have the Adam and Eve massager at $74.95. And if you use offer code adulting, although that even you qualify to receive one of the items below for free: a King Cock 5-inch realistic dildo, a 2-in-1 stroker realistic vagina, and Eve's clitorific personal massager. I don't plan on adding any of that to my cart right now. So if I hit offer code adulting to that, take 50% off one item. I have now knocked the price of that item down to $37.48, and I got free shipping, and I saved $45.46. And again, you can also, if you're really interested, you can use PayPal payments of $9.37 for 4 interest-free payments to buy that item if you wanted to. So anyways, that's adameve.com. Use offer code adulting. Get 50% off any one item. You get the romance kit. You get the Adam and Eve on-demand 6-pack DVD kit. You get 50% off any one item. You get free shipping. You get all the stuff. It's pretty cool. So thank you, Adam and Eve, for sponsoring Adulting with Donnie. And also Ray's Energy Drink, R-E-P-P, what was that? REPP sports.com. They have all sorts of fucking stuff there. If you're an energy person, I know that I am about to get back into running, jogging type of thing. First Monday in April. That's the schedule on this. The first Monday in April, I'm going to get back into it. All right. The weather's nice again. All right. I got to look good for my mate. Okay. She looks good all the time. I feel like I should do the same. I should reciprocate on that. But they have all sorts of stuff. Raised Focus, Nootropic Brain Booster. They have pre-workout. They have muscle builders, weight loss. Maybe I'll look into some of that weight loss stuff. Whey proteins, recovery, sleep aids. I actually have. They sent me a sample of the sleep aid, which I still haven't tried because I keep forgetting to. Maybe I should take some of their brain boosters, and that will help me remember to try their sleep aid. They have a couple different flavors on their sleep aid. Let's see here. They got cinnamon swirl, vanilla soft serve, and sour gummy. Vanilla soft serve sounds the most enticing to me. You can also buy stuff there with 4 interest-free payments from Sezzle, whatever that is. I've never heard of it. And again, if you use offer code adulting, apply coupon, you will get that knocks it from $47.49 down to I don't know what the math on that is. It's a discount of $7.20. It's like 15%, I think. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right. It's like 15%. You get 15% off. Plus shipping is $6.95 for a total of $47.74. So saving you money all over the place. Check out reppsports.com. Use offer code adulting. Get 15% off your entire order. All right. So unlike Adam and Eve, you're not getting 15% off one item. You're getting it. You're getting it off your entire order. So, and Joe checked in. Joe from the bridge said Hitachi also makes military vehicles, tanks, and shit. That's right, they do, and they don't fuck around when it comes to that stuff. So, Okay. I don't have much else to talk about tonight. I have so I like essentially switched to Coors Light. I talked about this last night on We Deliver. Talked about it a little bit, sort of, kind of. I essentially switched to Coors Light, right? Like that's all road drinks. Road drinks, Coors Light. Um, and and I don't know, about a month ago or so, because I've always drank like Sam Adams or some sort of craft beer. I've been drinking like craft beer type stuff for like 3 or 4 years now. And that basically started one day when my father was like, "Here, I got a job for you to do, and I'll give you a 12 pack of Sam Adams Rebel IPA." So then that started my journey with kind of the craft beer section, mostly Sam Adams. But like a month ago, I was telling Ro, I was like, I think I'm just gonna switch to Coors Light. Like the Sam Adams beers, they're heavy. I feel like I get drunker on them faster. Whereas like the Coors Light, like we went to the bonfire the other night, and I think we each probably had like 9 fucking beers and felt fine, because they don't they're like water. If you watch the You Betcha channel, they go down like the beers are going down easy. So they I probably had 9 beers. Ro probably had like 3. All right, let's be honest. So, but anyways, so yeah, I told her, so I've been drinking like just Coors Light, right? And then, sprinkle in some Cold Snap here and there once in a while. And, so the other night, I think last week sometime, I'm sitting on the couch and Ro pops into the living room and she was like, "Hey, I had a quick question. Do you believe in beer expiration dates?" And I was like, not really. Like, I think like if the beer sits out, in the sun, that's probably not good for it. If it's inside and it's there for a year, yeah, you could probably tell like a difference in taste. But for the most part, no, I don't believe in beer expiration dates. Most of them will say like, but today's March 22nd, so most of them would say like best by fucking June 1st. Okay, sure they are. So, but anyway, so I said, no, not really. And she was like, okay, well, I kind of been doing a thing for like a few months now. And, I bought you a bunch of Cold Snap and they're upstairs in the closet in the second bedroom. And I laughed and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go take a look. And I went up there and counted. She bought, over the course of the last 2 or 3 months, she's bought me 21 12 packs of Cold Snap. And the math on that is 252 cans of Cold Snap. So I have enough Cold Snap to last me, I would guess, probably until mid-August. Like, I will be drinking Cold Snap probably until mid-August. She's on her way over here right now with a 12 pack for me because I don't have any here. So she's on her way over here right now with a 12 pack of Cold Snap for me. So yeah, I mean, just another example of just how amazing this girl is. So, but it was very funny to me. Like I pulled them all out of the closet so that I could stack them and take a picture of them, and then put them all back into the closet, where once in a while I will go and pull them out. Like I said, I think I wouldn't be surprised if I have Cold Snap to last me. It wouldn't surprise me if I have Cold Snap to last me until the next time Cold Snap's available. So, all right. And then the last thing that I want to talk about, I don't really know. I don't know. It's Joe Rogan. He's under fire for supposedly transphobic comments, which I didn't read it like that. I haven't listened to the episode, and I guess I didn't really feel the need to go listen to the episode because even in the article they say they kind of only touched on this for a couple seconds. But it was him and Jim Brewer, who is a comedian. He's an awesome comedian. You would know him from that Dave Chappelle movie, not Super High. I don't remember. It was the Dave Chappelle movie where he's smoking a ton of weed and becomes a drug dealer, and becomes a drug dealer to get his friend, to raise the money to get his friend out of jail because his friend killed Butternuts, the police horse by feeding it chocolate or something like that. But anyways, him and Jim Brewer were on there, and they were talking about transgender people, and Joe Rogan said it's not fake. There are people who really have these thoughts. The problem is it becomes a protected subject, and then you get praised for transferring your gender, for changing your gender, and then it gets exciting for people to talk about, and then you get chastised for even discussing it in any weird way. And then people who were marginalized for being like generally dumb, if they transfer over and become another gender, then they get praised. There are a lot of people who are idiots, but then they become trans, and now all of a sudden we think they're amazing. I do agree with some of that sentiment. He didn't talk about it much in this particular one, but he did talk about it, I think, like a week or two ago with Mike Baker, saying, like, you know, transgender men, like, people who were born as a man and then decide to become a woman, and then they're fighting in MMA and destroying girls, you know, like just absolutely wrecking them, and kind of the moral problems with that. I have no doubt that there are women out there that can kick the shit out of a guy, but you know, if you take a guy who's 6'5" and weighs 250 pounds and put him in a ring with a girl who weighs 150, and he can just, you know, throttle her and say at the end of the day that he's got tits, so you got to call him a woman. Like, I don't know, that, you know, that shit, it seems weird to me, because you have to wonder, like, did this person really become transgender because they wanted to, because that's how they really felt, or did they do it because they wanted to win? Because they could have picked any other field of you know, things to do. They could have picked any other hobby, and they picked this one. It seems awfully convenient to me. I'm sure I'll catch shit for all of those statements, and I'm also sure I don't really care. These are the opinions of one dumb guy. I think that's going to do it for me tonight. I don't really know what the fuck else to talk about. Check out We Deliver in your podcasting apps. Look for it. I will keep promoting that show every week. Stan and I will do more episodes. Again, don't know when, don't know how often. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to sitting down with him for like 4 or 5 hours one day and then just recording it all and then just releasing them 1 week at a time. We might talk about doing that. I don't know. Because we're not going to be talking about like fucking current events or anything like that. Oh, one more thing that I want to talk about before I punch out for the night. I got this in the mail today. Let me pull up my camera so I can see. I got this in the mail today. This is the Swamp Fox Optics Blade Prism weapon sight. It is a 1x25 super wide angle, motion activated, auto on wake up, close quarter battle rise, compensating reticle, true 1x magnification optic for the 300 blackout pistol that I'm building. This is what's going to go on there. I bought this from swampfoxoptics.com, and I'll give you guys a little cheat code here. Excuse me. Let's see here. I gotta find out the prices. That's why I'm fucking around with the internet portion of this right now. Here we go. The blade. So the blade is $289, and I gotta remember the offer code that I used. Proceed to checkout. We're just about done. We're just about there. Just about there. Here we go. Coupon gift certificate. WLS 20, I believe. Maybe it was 25. I feel like it was 25. No, maybe it is 20. So WLS 20. Let's try that. Not WLS 20 either. WLS 24. All right, now I have to go find out what the fuck it really is. LoveWLS.com. I have pulled this weapon sight out of the box and fucked around with it a little bit, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting it mounted on the actual gun. Almost as much as I'm looking forward to shooting the gun itself, but definitely looking forward to getting it mounted on the gun. Let's see here. Swamp Fox Optics. WLS is life. We'll get you 21% off. Let me just make sure that works. WL says life gets you, yep, brings the cost of that down from $289 to about $231 plus $9.50 for shipping for a total of $240. So it saves you $57 on the optic itself. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to get it on the gun and get it checked out and report back to you guys with how cool that gun is. And certainly I'll shoot some video and show you how the new suppressor works on it. I'm going to buy some subsonic ammo for it so I can see just how quiet it really is, but I'm expecting it to be very quiet. So that's going to do it for me, guys, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show. Again, check out what we deliver. Go to adameve.com, use offer code adulting. Go to REPP Sports, use offer code adulting for 15% off your entire order. The suicide prevention line is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK, or you can text the prevention line 741-741. All right, guys, I'm out of here. See ya.